All right, gang, it looks like we are live. Come on in, one and all. All right, we already see about 500 of you here. Hey, guys, come on in. Great to see all of you. Great to have you. Let me know the sound is all right. It looks like all is well thus far. It is live stream Friday. It's a great way to just finish off these crazy weeks that we're all experiencing together, isn't it? So make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button if you haven't already done so. We got so much to talk about. I got my, as Rush would say, I got my stack of stuff here. We got, what do we say? I mean, what do we say about the most embarrassing flop imaginable in terms of what happened last night? Wait till you see what some people were writing about in expectation of what was supposed to happen last night. They were so excited. The left wing media, the lamestream media, they were ecstatic. That last night was like Christmas for them. They couldn't believe, finally, we're going to share with the world everything we know and how horrible that evil Donald Trump is and so forth. And nobody watched. It was a total thud. Not only that, not just did nobody watch, but the content of it is everyone's talking about today like it's like Santa didn't come. I mean, you have to understand, this was Liz Cheney's real bona fide national debut. Okay, this was Liz Cheney's moment in the national spotlight, and it was a total thud. We'll talk more about it. I'm already getting ahead of myself. I can't stop talking. It's so awesome. Super Chat is live. Send me your questions. We have our moderator, Josh Williams, with us. He's going to be giving me your questions at the end. I'll be fielding them at the end. So we have an uninterrupted stream of consciousness going on here. We're obviously going to be talking about last night's Primetime January 6th hearings, which were an utter embarrassment. I don't even know why we're calling them hearings. There was nobody around to hear them, actually. And we're going to take a look at what people are saying about, pundits are saying about it today, including left-wing pundits who, like I said, for them, Santa Claus didn't show up. They are absolutely disillusioned. We're going to look at some of their reactions, and we're going to see, you're going to love this, we're going to see how even leftists, okay, this is why I love going to salon.com websites and all, leftists are admitting, hear this, leftists are admitting that January 6th was one massive victory for one Donald J. Trump. Okay? You are not going to, so stick with me all the way through the end of this live stream. First, guys, I've got some amazing news. Seriously, this is so cool. I am ecstatic to share with all of you that you are all invited. I don't care where you are all invited to our premiere of our new movie, The Return of the American Patriot, The Rise of Pennsylvania. Some of you may have seen the trailer that we have. It's on the channel, so make sure to check that out. We're going to be debuting this awesome documentary put together by our producer, Josh Williams, in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, on July, for January. I got January 6th in my head. July 16th. You are all invited to join me and some pretty awesome special guests for what I'm calling the premiere of the summer. We've already had 2,000 Mules. We've already had What is a Woman? Now we've got The Rise of the Patriot. I'm so excited about this. Now, the location and time of the day are soon to be announced because we got to figure out how many seats we need. I can already tell you, this is so cool. We sent out a little notice last night. All our VIP tickets sold out. They're gone. They were gone in less than 12 hours. So it's going to be so awesome. You're going to be hanging out with your fellow patriots, and if you're outside of Pennsylvania, you are going to love Pennsylvania patriots, especially those in the heart of Pennsylvania and Lancaster. So go ahead, click on the link below, and you can get early bird tickets for yourself, for your friends. These are going to go fast. They may not be around by the end of this day. So make sure you can do the travel arrangements. Come out and see us. We're increasing the number of tickets available so that as the most amount of people can come as possible, right? That'll fill in a theater. So make sure, grab your ticket as soon as you can. Right now, click on that link, and I cannot wait to meet you in Lancaster for this really astonishing event in the life of Turley Talks. We're so excited now we're entered into the world of documentary making. So, all right. So I want to see you there. Remember, July 16th. See you then. All right. Let's dive right in here. What do we say? What do we say? At a time when gas prices have reached a national average of over $5 per gallon. That's a doubling. Yes, a doubling since Bumblin' Biden took office. We're talking approaching $100 fill-ups at the pump. At a time when record high inflation is eating away at our savings. At a time of an imminent recession, many believe we are already in it. At a time of unprecedented baby formula shortage for mothers. At a time when 15,000 migrants are approaching our imploding southern border as we speak. At a time when violent crime and homicide rates have surged to utterly unprecedented levels at Democrat-dominated cities throughout the nation. At a time of impending famine. At a time when the global world order is literally imploding right before our very eyes, thanks to Russia, China, and India. You can all be assured that the members of our permanent political class, led, of course, by the fearless and valiant champion of your concerns, Liz Cheney. That's right. All she thinks about day and night is how she can help you and serve you and address your concerns and represent your values. Yes. Last night, as shown to us by the monolith of the fledgling cable news and network news programs, except for Fox, those very members of our permanent political class were all hard at work, diligently solving all of those problems I just listed. And you'll be happy to know that in many respects, as far as they're concerned, they've solved them. They've solved each and every one of those crises that I listed out for you. That's right. Yeah. Last night, members of our privileged political class solved every single one of those problems. And they did it in actually a very, very impressive and creative way. At the January 6th televised hearings last night, Liz Cheney and the Democrats, in effect, informed all of us that we have all been victims of disinformation. None of those problems actually matter that much. We thought they did, but no, we were wrong. All those crises I listed out are only imaginary crises. They're not real. As it turns out, what we thought was important actually isn't. Again, as they assured us of last night, we are living in an age of, misinformation or disinformation, right? That's why we have to have a disinformation board centered in Washington, D.C., of all places, and comprised of other members of our permanent political class who alone will authoritatively decide what is true and what is false, what we should be concerned about, and what's a big lie. And as part of that, we learned last night that all those concerns that we have, inflation, gas prices, food shortages, violent crime, 15,000 migrants coming to the southern border, actually are all false. None of those concerns are really that important. They are certainly not worthy of being the concerns of our permanent political class. Now, instead, what we learned last night, and I was so unaware of this, so I owe so much to Liz Cheney today. What we learned last night is that the single most pressing, serious, dire, potentially civilization-destroying threat that we face today comes from those who would dare to even think of trying to bring down that permanent political class. That's the threat to democracy. That's the biggest threat on the planet right now. And the number one person who's behind the orchestration of trying to bring down the downfall of our permanent political class. I mean, it's unthinkable. I mean, think of bringing about the downfall of a saint like Liz Cheney, the number one arch enemy of all things good, holy, and just, is none other than Donald J. Trump. Oh, feels so dirty even saying the name. So, rest assured, all of you out there, rest assured, last night was proof that our so-called leaders are on the case. They are valiantly defending our very souls by exposing this unspeakable evil that's behind trying to bring them down. The threats against them are threats against all of us. The destruction of the permanent political class is democracy dying in darkness. Unfortunately, how do I say this? Nobody watched it. They were hard at work protecting the foundations of civilization, and nobody gave a flip. Now, the ratings are yet to come in fully, but pundits are already admitting that this last night was one big, huge flop. A humiliating, embarrassing flop. Look at some of the headlines. I've gotten my stack of stuff, my good old Rush Limbaugh stack of stuff from Red State. Heavily hyped primetime Jan 6 committee hearings land with a thud. Ouch. Deadline. These are libs. So deadline. January 6th primetime hearings proves a slow start. New York Times. The anticlimax of the January 6th meeting, hearings. I mean, talk about ouch. Now, this wasn't for a lack of trying. Remember, they hired an ABC executive to help them put on the best glitz and glamour show possible. That's exactly the liberals over at The Guardian were so excited about that. Here was their headline from a couple of days back. Congress's January 6th hearings aim to be TV spectacular that, quote, blows the roof off. The Babylon Bee couldn't help it. The satirical site, the Babylon Bee. They had to put this out. This just came out yesterday. Miley Cyrus set to perform halftime show at January 6th committee hearings. I mean, it was so absurd, but it was, I'm going to get into it. Frank Lutz, who I'm not any fan of, he was doing a focus group while the hearings were going on. And this is what he tweeted out in real time. It took 9 minutes for the hearing to show something other than a boring politician delivering a teleprompter speech. That's too long. I have 10 students watching with me, and they aren't watching anymore. They're more interested in talking to each other than watching the screen. It's too long, said one of my students. After 15 minutes, it's just one politician speaking into the camera after another. Literally no one is watching. The TV is on, but no one is watching. This is his focus group. This hearing may be fascinating for reporters, but I will be shocked if it changes minds. After the first 35 minutes, just one of my 11 students is paying attention. In other words, it was embarrassing. What happened last night was not just a sham. It was not just a kangaroo court. It was a very bad one. It was it and only the cluelessness of our permanent political class, who are so aloof, so far removed from the average citizen, only they could have possibly screwed something up like this. Look, let's boil this down to brass tacks, shall we? What we saw, or better, what the vast majority of the nation did not see last night, because they actually have real law. They want to live in reality rather than be subject to the fantasies of left-wing activists. What we saw last night was a clear demonstration that our nation has been officially partitioned, okay? We are officially living in two different countries within one nation, as it were. So on the one side, you've got, of course, liberal globalists, right? These are the members of the permanent political class. This is the lamestream media, the university elite, big tech execs, the boardrooms of woke corporations and the like. This is a class that cares only about itself. It doesn't care about anyone else. It cares literally nothing about you or me. It cares nothing about our nation. It's a liberal globalist political class that is, in point of fact, just one big business model. It exists for one reason only, and that is to calibrate the totality of political, economic, and cultural life around themselves so as to enrich and empower themselves. They want to be that primary node through which the totality of social order has to operate, and they basically are a toll booth. They collect money. They get a percentage. They get a cut over any and all political, economic, and cultural activity that happens. They control it all. They manage it all like CEOs over a corporation so as to enrich themselves. Make no mistake. You can look it up. Liz Cheney is getting super rich off of all of this. It's been widely reported the vast majority of her donors, and we're approaching, I think last I looked was over 7 million. Vast majority of her donors are from outside of Wyoming. She's getting super rich from leftists, liberals, Lincoln Project, anti-Trumpers, all members of the permanent political class. They love Liz Cheney. So that's one side, right? And this side, unfortunately, has, at least up until now, been very successful in convincing a certain portion of our population that they are their saviors. Okay, without them, all kinds of ruin and harm are going to come upon them. So these are obviously urban populations, cosmopolitan liberals, women with college degrees, who are the only ones who still give Biden upwards of a 60% approval rating. Women, white women with college degrees. They are the most liberal thing on the planet right now. Ethnic minorities, and they, the permanent political class, portray themselves, at least somewhat persuasively, as their protectors. The permanent political class is necessary in order to protect their rights from the evils of particularly white men. All right, so that's one side of the aisle. The other side of the aisle, right, the other nation within, or the other country within this one nation, is the people. It's the populi. It's the side of the ordinary American who gets up every single day and works hard and plays by the rules and loves faith, family, and freedom and tries to live an honest and decent life, who only wants what's best for themselves, for their families, their loved ones, and for their neighbors, their communities. And this is why I would argue, this is precisely why what happened on January 6th was ironically a massive success for Donald J. Trump. Absolutely massive. By the way, what do you think? I got my shirt on. I got to plug the shirt, right? The Great MAGA King, if you could see it. Click on the link below to our merch store, store.turleytalks.com, store.turleytalks.com. Get your own MAGA King shirt. Wear it with pride, right? Especially around this time, because he obviously is coming back. But this is why I would argue what Trump did on January 6th, which of course was call for peace, in the midst of all that. We'll get into that in a sec. But this is why January 6th, in many respects, has given Trump a victory, a success that this committee recognizes. The reason why this committee exists is because Trump was so radically successful on January 6th. You got to let that hit you. And that's not coming from me. That's coming from leftists. We have leftists who are openly admitting that January 6th was a massive success for Trump, and that is precisely why these hearings are so necessary. All right, so we're going to get into that. That's going to be what my next stack of stuff. If you just joined us, click on that link below. You are all invited to an in-person premiere of my new movie, The Return of the American Patriot, The Rise of Pennsylvania, is put together by our producer, Josh Williams. It is our first Turley Talks documentary. So you had 2,000 Mules. You had What is a Woman? Now you got The Return of the American Patriot. You're going to absolutely love it. It is premiering in Lancaster, Pennsylvania on July 16th. You are all invited. You're going to absolutely love it. I've got some special guests that are going to be with me for what I'm calling the premiere of the summer. Forget all that Top Gun stuff. Come on over to see the rise of Pennsylvania. Now, the location and time are going to be announced because we got to figure out how many seats we're going to need. I got to tell you, all the VIP tickets have been sold out in less than 12 hours. We just sent out a mailing to our email list. By the way, if you haven't signed up on our email list, make sure you go to turleytalks.com and sign up on our email list. You get first dibs at stuff like that. We've got a huge list. It's a great community. You're going to love it. But it's going to be so awesome, but they're going fast. So make sure you click on the link below, grab a ticket for yourself, grab one for your friends, make it a nice weekend, and I'm going to see you in Lancaster for a wonderful debut day. It's going to be great, all right? All right, so let's get into this. Look at what the leftists over at Salon.com have written. This is their headline. I know you can't see it, but Trump's coup failed. There was no coup, but you know. Trump's coup failed, but January 6th was a success. You have to understand some leftists actually get it. They see exactly what happened. I mean, on that day. I mean, there's a lot of layers of how we all know there's a lot of layers of what happened on that day. But I want to focus in on one, hopefully one of the bigger picture, more long-lasting issues that are happening there. January 6th actually encapsulated for many and by the way, gang, just we're doing it a little different today. We do have a moderator, so if you give me some of your super chats, I'm going to answer them at the end. So go ahead, put in your super chats, put in your questions, and I'm going to answer all the questions at the end. So I'm fine. It's a little better than having to interrupt the flow of stream of consciousness, as it were. But there are leftists who are recognizing some of the most profound consequences of January 6th. They are recognizing that January 6th actually encapsulated the escalating face-off between these two nations within our one country, the people versus the permanent political class. January 6th, in many respects, was a showdown between the permanent political class part of our nation and the people, the populous part of our nation. This is why I think the polls were so supportive for Trump after January 6th. Right when the media was telling us, oh, he's going to implode, he's going to go down to, Joe Biden levels at the time. We could have said that going back ex post facto, but Trump is dead. His political career is over. What they could not believe is how Trump's polls not only stayed steady, but actually went up after January 6th among Republicans. And that's because for many patriots, January 6th represented a struggle, a radically frustrating struggle between the concerns of the people, right? Inflation, gas prices, imploding border, surging crime, baby food shortage, all this sort of stuff. The concerns of the people versus the obtuse deafness of the permanent political class. January 6th represented, as it were, the ultimate clash between these two forces. And the fact that Trump called for peace, right? Remember, there was a whole FBI investigation into this, investigation to this, and they totally exonerated Trump. There was no way, and they exonerated Trump. Well, the Senate trial exonerated Trump, and everyone involved with the January 6th riots and so forth were exonerated from having any kind of insurrection tendencies or anything like that. It was much more frustration. And the fact that Trump called for peace, he called for the protests to be peaceful before they went to the Capitol building, and then he called for peace after the riots broke out. The fact that he called for peace while at the same time never backing down from his original claims about November 3rd, that has permanently enshrined Trump in the eyes of many as the bona fide champion of the people. Someone who will never back down and who will always, no matter what the stakes are, will always fight on behalf of patriots and who will always stand up for our concerns, our values, and our interests. In that sense, according to Salon.com, January 6th was a huge, massive success for Trump. It secured Trump's status as the true champion, the true defender of the people, as over and against the values, interests, and concerns, the self-serving values, interests, concerns of the permanent political class. And as such, Trump, as a result, secured his official takeover of the GOP, which has been formalized, of course, by virtue of Trump's amassing an astonishing war chest of over $100 million for his Save America PAC, right? People aren't giving to RNC anymore. Not in the large numbers they used to the Republican National Committee, right? Have you noticed that? People aren't giving to the RNC anymore. They're giving to Save America PAC. Trump has, I believe, double the amount of money that the RNC has. And his leadership over the GOP has given him what even CNN, we've had a couple of videos on this, even CNN is calling a shadow presidency. If we are, in effect, two nations inside one country, right? If we are, however I do it, right? Two countries inside one nation, whatever. If we are, in fact, two nations, a nation of the permanent political class and its supporters, and a nation of the people who have had it with the permanent political class, we want nothing more to do with it anymore. Okay? If that's what we are, Trump, in many respects, CNN recognizes Trump, in many respects, is still the de facto president of that half of the nation. I think it's more than half, obviously, but Trump is still the de facto president. GOP leaders at statewide levels are doing his bidding in securing election integrity in their respective states for the upcoming midterms and for 2024. They're doing everything they can to seek out his endorsement, because 9 times out of 10, if you get a Trump endorsement, you're going to win. That's it. I mean, we saw it with Doug Mastriano in Pennsylvania, right? This is what the left is freaking out about. Leftists are recognizing that January 6th permanently enshrined Trump as the champion of the people, and thus secured his leadership over the GOP and over that part of the nation, right? That half, that nation within the nation, as it were. And that leadership is now directing itself towards securing electoral victories at the midterms and the next presidential election. And gang, make no mistake, this is why the January 6th committee exists. It exists because it's trying to unravel, it's trying to undo what January 6th actually accomplished, which is the permanent enshrinement of Trump as the defender of the people and leader of the GOP. That is what Liz Cheney is trying to undo. And it's not going to work. It was all a big flop. The days of the permanent political class are indeed coming to an end. The age of the patriot is rising. And there is nothing that Liz Cheney or Adam Kinzinger or anyone else can do to stop it. All right, gang, that's all I got for you. Let's hear what your questions are. Let me check. Josh, our moderator, you want to email me them questions? Let's see. What do we got here? What do we got? I got last stream. Look it up for. Let me. So Josh, go ahead and email those questions when you get a chance for me. And over to you. Give me a second here while we do this. He's probably assembling them. Let me go back to my live stream. Let me see. I see a couple of questions here that I can grab. Oh, Kyung, just very, very nice. Thank you, Kyung. Thank you for the gift. Very much appreciated. Let's see, Panda, how bad do you feel things will get by the midterms? I'm thinking $10 a gallon gas inflation hits 15%, sending us into massive recession. Love to know your thoughts. So Panda Sandy, yeah, so that would technically be stagflation when you have recession plus inflation. That's when things get really, really bad. Recessions, you should see the prices go down because everyone's trying to sell more, right? And awaken more economic activity and the like. But like in the Carter years, when you have a recession happening at the same time that the core goods that everybody wants, fuel, food, and the like, the supply chains get interrupted, like the OPEC oil embargo. When the supply chains get interrupted, then the prices go up. So not only do you have the recession, but you have these massive skyrocketing prices. I think things are going to get really bad. Already I'm seeing articles that are saying once you're seeing an average of $100 per fill-up, Biden is over. You can blame Putin. You're blue in the face. People aren't buying it anymore. You get to that 100, you get to your $10 a gallon. I don't know if we're going to get there. We're already pretty much at the $100 per fill up, and people, when you see those three digits, I mean, people have had it. So I think it can get pretty bad. I think we are in a recession. I talked to Scott Scheel, who's on Fox Business a lot, and with Stuart Varney, and he said we're already in a recession. They just haven't announced it. You have to wait for the right. You have to have I think 2 quarters of economic negative economic growth, and I think we're already there. So they'll announce it, and I think it'll sink Biden. I don't know how much trouble we'll get into prior to that. That's the only thing. All right, Josh. Oh, okay. Very, very good. I'm getting some. Here we go. Here comes some of the questions and some comments. James P., these idiots are going after a governor candidate in Michigan for January 6th now. They are out of control. They are. Yeah. So Whitmer is playing Banana Republic style politics here, where she's actually pulling an Obama. This is what Obama did in Chicago politics. He always just got rid of whatever the most viable Republican contender was. Remember when he was first running for office, who was that handsome guy? I'm forgetting. Good, handsome, good-looking Republican, looked like he was going to win, moderate Republican. And all of a sudden, oh no, all the details of his lurid divorce came suddenly out of nowhere. Well, what do you know? And he got sunk. That's exactly what Whitmer is doing right now. She knows she's vulnerable, so she's basically she's Epsteining in her own political way all her viable opponents. So yeah, it's really dangerous. If you live in Michigan, you got to vote this wacko out as soon as you can. She's terrible. David, thanks for your David. Thank you. Very, very kind. Tom Greer, thank you, my friend. Very kind of you. Jane Wang, thank you very much. Very, very kind of you. Jennifer Greer, thank you. Wow, lots of thank yous. Just straight out thank yous. That makes it easy. I don't have to answer too much then. All right. Thank you, Jennifer. David, don't forget all those Americans falsely arrested. Amen. Rotting in prison right now, right? Without any due process. Right, without charges or convictions, in solitary confinement, the direct order of the sham committee. Amen, David. Amen. Yeah, keep them in your prayers. It is tragic to see what's happened there. Wisdom 101, thank you, sir. Very kind. Kyung Anderson, thank you, sir. Very, very kind. Jennifer Greer, I received my Old Country soap order along with a handwritten thank you note. Very nice. Great, Jennifer. Awesome. I'm glad you enjoy it. I love me some Old Country soap. We don't have them down below in the links below, but perhaps you can go on the channel and find a link there. Or just go up. I think it's Old Country Soap, OLDE oldcountrysoap.com. And look them up. They are awesome. They are wonderful. It's an Amish recipe. It's an Amish tradition for the soap, and I love them. I use them myself. I absolutely love them. All right, guys, that looks like it's it thus far. Let's see. Blue Diamond, I love you, but stop praising Putin. He is evil. I love you, Blue Diamond, but you're unfortunately... you are unfortunately gone the way of Rachel Maddow. You are believing what the very media that peddled the Russian conspiracy hoax for 3 years is telling you about Russia. The very people who told you that Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation are now telling you that Vladimir Putin is evil. I'm sorry, Vladimir Putin, for right or for wrong, is a major figure on the world stage of ushering in a post-globalist age, a very traditionalist age, a very Christian nation. The Orthodox Church, Russian Orthodox Church, is solidly behind him. 80% of the Russian population supports him. He has the highest approval rating of any world leader on the planet right now. That's not just evil. Okay? So when you just reduce yourself to, again, these kind of Rachel Maddow talking points, you got to wake up from your wokeness. That's wokeness on the ride. That's Sean Hannity. That's Sean Insanity stuff. And that means you're still a globalist. You're still a globalist, at least to some extent. You want America running things, or you want patriots running things for the entire world. You want a one-size-fits-all political economic system for everyone, regardless of their culture and the like. Generally speaking, that's where I think you're coming from. So anyway, let's see. Anything more do we have? That's my take. That's my take. That's my take. Looks like we got it. That is it, folks. Gang, it is so awesome. Whoop, did I get another? I think I got another. All right. Angela, how come we the people are not hitting the street with our gas and inflation rigged? Are we weak or possibly afraid? Yeah, Angela, I mean, it takes a lot. It takes a real lot to, and we've got tons coming in. So, Josh, if you're listening in, make sure you send some more over to me. But yeah, it takes a lot to get people, average, ordinary people, not insane cultural Marxist ideologues, who are just mind-numbed and brainwashed. It takes a lot to get people to come out in mass and protest. You may see it, though. You may see it. I mean, if those prices continue to go sky high, if people continue to feel like the political class just is totally aloof and not listening to them, you may actually end up seeing something massive like we haven't seen, like the Tea Party movement in a while. The Tea Party movement exploded. We may see something comparable to that. But it will be, watch the midterms. Keep your eye on the midterms. Midterms will be gigantic in terms of that. Let's see. Jeremy, Dr. Steve, hello from non-battleground North Carolina. Well done. North Carolina's gotten very, very red of late. Do you think this kangaroo court is motivating the MAGA base or putting a chill effect on patriots running for office? Also, is this pissing off independents? I'll go backwards. I don't think it's pissing off independent. I think they just don't care anymore. Every poll we have on sentiments and attitudes for January 6th is we've moved on. It's over. It's 2 years ago. We're done. How can I continue to be concerned about this kind of stuff? So I don't think independents care. Biden already has 20-something% approval rating with independents. He's lost. This is why Richard Barris thinks he's totally unelectable. When you have 99% of Republicans against you, and then basically 75% of independents against you, you're done. It's over. You just mathematically can't win, right? So you got that right. Well, wink, wink. We all know some of the issues there, but. Do I think kangaroo court is motivating MAGA base? Yes, I think it's exactly what's going on right now. I just ask yourself, is it motivating you to get out there and all the more be determined to get rid of these idiots from office? Definitely. I think it's definitely creating a backlash. Again, it's not motivating anyone for their side, but it is increasing a massive motivation to get rid of them on the other side. So that's all you need to know there. So very good question, Jeremy. And that's right. God bless North Carolina. Let's see. Christopher Fair. It is simple. They are diabolically obsessed. Or possessed, do you mean? Father RFP and other exes say, Father Rip say 20% are. Yes, I think you meant possessed, right? Diabolically possessed, or I guess obsessed, as it were. No, I think you're absolutely right. We did a video on that, 2 weeks ago. Are we facing a demonic uprising as a nation? And, Newt Gingrich wrote a very, very good article that, in effect, said yes. You cannot remove the sacred barriers in a society. Remember, in order for a society to live for thousands of years, it's got to be rooted in eternity. There's no way around this. If you want your society to live, if you want your civilization to thrive forever, as it were, it's got to be rooted in forever. It's got to be rooted in religious frames of reference that transcend time. Every civilization figured that out except our own, right? So this is why we're crumbling. This is why the modern globalist world is crumbling. They replace civilization with a scientific system. And the scientific system, ironically, is rooted in doubt. How do you know? And you can't know anything unless it's scientifically proven. Well, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that over time, you're going to have the same kind of skepticism to scientific claims like we're seeing today. So, ironically, the skepticism that science is rooted in is now eating itself, and our scientific system, globalist system, is collapsing politically, economically, human rights-wise, and the like. Let's see, Josh, do you got me a list there, my friend? Where's my list? Let me check here. I got to know. He said, I want to get all them questions. Let's get that. Oh, okay. Here we go. Josh is emailing to me. Got the Vicky, it's all BS. Steve, love you. There you go. Well, hopefully you're talking about the sham committee. I think you are, Vicky. Thank you so much. Very, very sweet of you. James, we need Sandy back in our country. Absolutely. G-Man, off topic, but when can you play us some guitar, Doctor? Hey, G-Man, I'm getting the nails going here. I have been playing a little bit. I haven't played in a while. I'll be honest with you guys. Ever since I stopped doing concerts, it was, 20 years ago, I really played very little. I just didn't have time. It wasn't, I wasn't getting paid anymore to do it. I was a professional guitarist, so it was kind of weird. I guess I cultivated a habit where I practiced in order to get paid, in order to do a gig, basically. And so when that left, I wasn't doing much anymore. I just wasn't practicing. Now I've started to really get into it. And I actually find it in many ways like a spiritual discipline. It's very I go into a zone. It's very relaxing, very meditative. So I'm hoping to have something for you by the end of the summer. No promises, but I'm hoping to have something for you, Jay. G-Man. So thank you very much for that. David Dilly, RNC said they would investigate 2020 election fraud to secure donations. You got it. You got it. They told you what you wanted to hear so that you'd write the check. Very good. To secure the donations, but then allegedly refused to finance those very investigations. No wonder folks aren't donating them anymore. David, you said it perfectly. You got it. No, RNC has been exposed as basically a sham. Again, it's a business model. It's a way they get money. Right, and they're grifters. They just latch on to whatever's there, raise as much millions as they can, go on to the next election. And remember, the Republican Party and Democratic Party are corporations, right? We do have corporations running our nation. That's not necessarily bad per se, but it can be. They can easily defer to profit over principle. Christopher, it is, right, got that. It is simply diabolical. That's right. Let me see if I've got some more here. What do I got here? More Slack ones. Here we go. We got some more. Quatrina, former Bernie independent here. Okay, very cool. Very cool. Welcome, Katrina. LGBT woman, welcome. And now a new Republican mama bear who just wants to protect our kids from ideology Trump 2024. Quatrina, you said it in a nutshell. The politics of the 20th century, the politics of the Cold War, was the politics of ideology. Okay, and maybe for right or for wrong, it really doesn't matter. I think in the end for wrong, because of how many lives were destroyed, if you think about it, particularly by leftist ideologies. It was the era of ideology. Which side were you on? Were you on the side of the American capitalists, or were you on the side of the Soviet communists? And the whole world had to choose sides. Right? It's known as a bilateral world with the two powers. When the Soviet Union collapsed, a lot of scholars like Francis Fukuyama actually said, our ideology triumphed. Our ideology, the ideology of liberal globalism, triumphed over the ideology of globalist communism. And there were other scholars like Sam Huntington of Harvard who said, nope, that's not what happened. What happened was not so much the collapse of communism. What happened was the collapse of ideology. Ideology is collapsing. People don't buy it anymore. And people are slowly but surely going back to nation, culture, custom, tradition. That's what happened to the Soviet Union. Russia lost a third of its land overnight. They had all balkanized and broke up into, this is why we're still dealing with the fallout of that altered map. All these populations are going back to nation, culture, custom, tradition, community, locality, and the like. Family, faith, freedom, right? That's how we define it in the West here, particularly in the American outworking. And even liberal globalism itself, the ideology of ideologies, is going to come crashing down. So we're moving from a century of ideology into the 21st century of identity. 20th century is what do I believe? 21st century is who am I? Who am I? Well, that's why identity politics pervade, and it's not just on the left. They're just the most odious, right? They're the most. It's also on the right. Make America great again. That's an identity statement. So, you said in just a few words, centuries worth of significance. So, God bless, Katrina. Thanks for being here. Love having you here. And again, Bernie is. I should say was, because he is such a sellout, and we all know that. But he at least was trying to tap into the left's version of this identity, age of identity. So, hats off to him to try to do that, sir. But he's way too. He's been in the swamp for too long. Donnie, thank you very much. Very sweet of you, Donnie. A. Jones, is it millennial here? Inflation has caused E3, E4 pay to be at or less than what many starter jobs are now paying. Expect to see mill shortages in 3 to 5 years. Yeah. Oh, gosh. There you go. Well, Jay Shug, what do you think of them arresting GOP frontrunner in Michigan? We talked about that. That's banana republic tactics. She learned it. Whitmer learned that from Obama. Obama did the same thing in Chicago politics. The Republican's name escapes me, but the Republican that was originally going to run against Obama looked like he was going to win. This is Obama's first term as senator. And suddenly, all the details, the sordid details of his divorce came out, court proceedings of his divorce came out, and his sexual proclivities and all that. And so his campaign imploded. So that's what she's doing. She knows she's vulnerable, and she's doing everything she can to take out the most likely and most viable opponents. It is disgusting, and if you're in Michigan, you got to do everything you can to get rid of this nut. Absolutely. All right, gang. I think that is it. I think we have reached the end. Whoop. I got a couple of more here. Oh, another thank you from Panda Santi. Thank you so much. And that's it. That looks like it is it, gang. All right. We're going to have to leave it at there. We've been going for almost an hour anyway. Hey, gang, thank you so much for everything. Again, just going through these crazy and turbulent times with you is frankly the most precious part of my professional life. I couldn't imagine doing anything else. I can't thank you enough for all your support. Make sure to click on that link below and support that awesome documentary that we have coming up right in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. It's July 16th. If you haven't already registered, gang, the tickets are going fast. Okay, we've already sold out of VIPs, so make sure you definitely get those tickets. And gang, what can I say? It's just wonderful to be with you this week and think through these crazy and turbulent times that we know in the end we are winning through. Again, we're not winning despite them. We're winning through them. That's the key. All right, gang. God bless. We'll see you.